Solicitor General, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, Advocate Delhi High Court, who will be joining us soon. And I would request now our chairperson, Mr. Dr. Aditya Narayan Mishra, to please initiate.
Dr. Rekha Dayal and esteemed my friends in the Google platform and equally esteemed colleagues and friends on the Facebook. Today is 4th December and we have a resolve. Resolve for dignity, resolve for respect, and resolve against victimization, and resolve to ensure that each one of us, those who are ad hoc friends, temporary colleagues, those who are teaching across various colleges, they must be absorbed on permanent basis. Permanent absorption is the only solution, and this is our resolve. Today we are going through the most difficult times. It is not only Corona. What adds to this crisis right now in Delhi University is non-payment of salary across 12 colleges. 6 colleges have got partial payment, and for last 3 months they have also not got the payment. And 6 colleges, not a penny has gone. There is a bitter, the stoppage of non-payment of salary for the teachers and karmacharis. Friends, for last 7 months, they are becoming defaulters. Their EMIs are not getting paid. They are going through extremely difficult situations. At some point of time, we as Delhi University teachers used to intervene for others when they used to have non-payment of salary. But today, we are witnessing this helplessly. This is a great concern for all of us. There is a bitter power struggle between two Sarkari groups, one at the Kendra and the other at the state. Who should control over these colleges? It is not their concern what will happen to the plight of teachers, what will happen to the plight of education. It is none of their concerns. Instead, they have the audacity to call the teachers as ghost teachers. This is shocking, and we must condemn this. Every teacher is a bona fide teacher. They have been appointed through a duly constituted selection committee, as has been mandated by the Executive Council of the university. Any attempt to touch any teacher in any of these colleges, we as an organization, we commit that we will be there in the forefront for your struggle, and we will wage a struggle. Friends, today the Delhi government is asking to pay salary from the students' fees. What is this? This is nothing but privatization. And the same thing National Education Policy is also talking about. Tomorrow UGC will come out with the same notification, and there will be one group which will be welcoming it, as they have welcomed National Education Policy. It is their duty. They have not here to defend teachers' interest, but to defend what comes from the center. All these things are making the situation quite vulnerable. Friends, at this point of time, we have to ensure that we stay together. We speak in one voice and defend each other, or else each one of us will be targeted in this process. What happened in 4th of December? is the outburst of the accumulated humiliation that the ad hoc teachers went through in this university. Some people try to defend त्यागी जी. आज त्यागी जी का क्या दशा हुआ? त्यागी जी बचाने चले थे सरकार को और कुछ लोग सरकार को बचाने में लगे हुए थे. लेकिन शिक्षक अपना मंजिल से कभी भटका नहीं है. आज भी उसके अंदर में जो आग है उतनी ही दहलता है. आज भी उसके अंदर में जो आक्रोश है वो उसी प्रकार से खौल रहा है. मैं पहले भी कहता था कि टेम्परेचर नापने की कोई कोशिश ना करे, और आज भी मैं होश आवाज के साथ ये बात बताना चाहता हूं. नाउ आई एम रिक्वेस्टिंग द प्रोसेस हैज टू कंटिन्यू and our friends have prepared some videos. I will request.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम डॉक्टर गगन पकोलिया है. मैं दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के एसपीएम कॉलेज में के हिंदी विभाग में तदर्थ शिक्षिका के रूप में कार्यरत हूँ. आप सभी की तरह मेरे मन में हमेशा से ये सवाल रहा है कि वेल क्वालिफाइड होने के बावजूद हम सब परमानेंट क्यों नहीं हो पा रहे हैं. इसके पीछे सबसे बड़ा रीजन ये है कि पिछले 10 सालों में परमानेंट इंटरव्यू लगभग न के बराबर हुए हैं, और जब इंटरव्यू नहीं होंगे तो हम सब परमानेंट कैसे होंगे. और अब अगर परमानेंट इंटरव्यू होते भी हैं तब भी हम सभी का उसके जरिए परमानेंट होना एक तरीके से नामुमकिन बात है. क्यों? क्योंकि किसी भी डिपार्टमेंट का इंटरव्यू होने में लगभग 3 से 4 दिन का वक्त लगता है, और इस तरह से अगर हम 5 एडॉक का इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट करते हैं और अगर इसको डेली बेसिस पे करें तब भी 7 से 8 वर्ष का समय लग जाएगा. और इस तरह से इंटरव्यू करना एक तरीके से इम्पॉसिबल बात है, नामुमकिन बात है. तो जब इंटरव्यू इस तरह से हो ही नहीं सकते और 5 एडॉक का हम इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट कर ही नहीं सकते तो हम सब परमानेंट कैसे होंगे. इसीलिए हम सब एडॉक की प्रशासन से यह मांग है कि एक ऑर्डिनेंस के जरिए हम सबको एब्जॉर्ब किया जाए और जिसके जरिए हम परमानेंट हो पाए. और एडॉक की इस अधर में लटकती हुई जिंदगी से मानसिक यातना से जो हम दिन रात गुजरते हैं, इससे हमें मुक्ति मिल सके और हम सब शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से अपना जीवन जी सके. एब्जॉर्प्शन मार्च ऑन.
मैं आप सभी के बीच में राकेश खन्ना जी का स्वागत करता हूं, पंकज जी का स्वागत करता हूं, और तमाम साथी जो यहां पर हैं उनका भी स्वागत करता हूं दोबारा. ये एक मार्मिक लड़ाई है सर. हिंदुस्तान का नहीं, सारा वर्ल्ड में सबसे पढ़ा लिखा तबका जो अपनी सारी जिंदगी दे दी, सारी मिडनाइट ऑयल उसने बर्न किया अपने डिग्रीज के लिए. दे हैव ऑल द डिग्रीज, दे हैव द बेस्ट परसेंटेज फ्रॉम दिस कंट्री, फ्रॉम अब्रॉड. They fulfill all the qualification norms as has been prescribed by the UGC, much more than that. They have been appointed through duly constituted selection committees as has been prescribed by the university's guidelines, EC guidelines, and which is also got approved from the UGC also. They teach against substantive vacancies. The 200-pointed roster is at place. The SC/ST observer, subject experts, everybody sit in the selection committee as has been mandated by the EC resolution. So what I am trying to say, this is a properly mandated constitution selection committee that my friends have gone through. But they are subjected to harassment after 4 months. They are being tortured. There is a great sense of uncertainty whether they will be continued or not. Every time they have to feel the heat of the things, they have to please everybody. It's a torture. And can a teacher who is not free can do justice to his students? And if this becomes the state of affairs, all these people have come from a panel prepared by every department for which 2 times a year they seek applications. And I will request those friends, those who have not unmuted, kindly mute themselves because there is lots of sound. So this is the greatest tragedy that is happening to the most talented people, not only of this country but of the whole world. Almost 5,000 teachers are being treated like slaves, academic slaves, year after year. And we know if there will be a selection committee, as Himanshu was rightly pointing out, 90% of the teachers will be shown the door. 90% will be told that you do not have a place where you are teaching. What is their fault? What is their crime? And why good people will come to this profession? Now, we know some people have betrayed our movement in the past. In order to defend the Vice Chancellor, in order to defend the government. But we have learned from our mistake. Our resolve is as strong as it was earlier. Many teachers have been, आप लोग कह रहे थे कि कोई टीचर को हटा नहीं रहे हैं. सामलाल कॉलेज में एक प्रेग्नेंट वुमेन वाज रिमूव्ड. दौलतराम कॉलेज में एक एससी टीचर belonging to the scheduled caste. She has all the degrees. She is one of the finest teacher. She is articulate. She is a product of this university. She was removed. What was the reason? No reason was offered. At Lakshmibai College, who is doing all these things? If you do not stand together, then tomorrow each one of us will be targeted. So let us stand together. We have two very eminent persons from the legal domain. Without any loss of time, I will request Rakesh Khanna ji to kindly take it over, and I request him to kindly speak on the subject, sir. Mr. Rakesh Khanna, senior advocate and former president of the Supreme Court Bar Association and former additional solicitor general of Government of India.
Thank you, Aditya ji. Aditya ji, Pankaj ji, Rekha Dayal ji, Dr. Sarvendra Kumar, Alok Ranjan Pandey ji, and all my dear friends from the teaching community of Delhi University. In any society, one has to measure the progress of the society. It is often said that how the society is treating its mentors, the teachers, is the measure to see how the society has progressed. I myself had been a student of the Delhi University, but when I see today the situation in Delhi University becoming alarming, it really pains me. As of today, I am given to understand there are more than 5,000 assistant professors and teachers in Delhi University who are working on ad hoc basis in various colleges and departments of Delhi University. This social and job insecurity and sword hanging on the careers, livelihood, and prospects of these ad hoc teachers is perhaps unbearable for all of you who are working on ad hoc basis. As I understand, since 2010, there is no major drive in the Delhi University for regularization of the ad hoc teachers or appointment of permanent teachers. Resultantly, there are large number of ad hoc teachers who are working for more than 10 to 15 years. With the implementation of OBC reservation in the higher education by the central government, the number of vacancies have been increased in the Delhi University, but unfortunately, no corresponding recruitment drives or regularization of ad hoc teachers drive has been undertaken by Delhi University. It pains more when one of the best universities in India, that is Delhi University, is facing an unprecedented abnormal situation where more than 50% of the teachers' sanctioned strength is manned by ad hoc teachers. And there are large number of vacancies even today. The UGC norms permit only 10% of the ad hoc teachers. That is looking at the leave vacancies or maternity leaves, etc., which are for short periods. As per the Delhi University norms, the ad hoc appointment is supposed to be made for 4 months. Thereafter, either they should be regularized or regular appointments should be made. Let us understand who are these ad hoc teachers. These ad hoc teachers have been appointed by the various Delhi University colleges and departments by duly constituted selection committees as per the norms laid down by the Executive Council of the Delhi University. All these teachers have requisite qualifications prescribed by the UGC, like UGC NET, JRF, MPhil, PhD, postdoctorates from the various renowned universities in India and abroad. All these teachers have been appointed after these posts have been duly advertised. All these teachers are working against substantive vacancies and their appointments have been approved by the governing bodies of the respective colleges and under due intimation to the Delhi University. These 5,000 teachers who are working for over 10 to 15 years in the Delhi University are therefore facing not only uncertainty for themselves, but also for the students who are not sure that after 4 months, whether that they will be having a teacher in the classroom to teach them or not. Even otherwise, looking from legal aspects, these teachers who have been appointed for 4 months and after a gap of 1 day, reappointed for last over 10 to 15 years, cannot be said to be working on ad hoc basis. They are working continuously. Their capabilities cannot be questioned. Their qualifications are, as I said, meeting all the norms of the Delhi University as well as the UGC. So the question arises, what should be the solution? When this problem was discussed in Delhi High Court, long back, if I remember correctly, somewhere in 2010, I appeared for a matter. Justice Badar Duraj MS bench passed a direction directing the Delhi University to immediately fill up 4,500 vacancies, which are manned by the ad hoc teachers. But unfortunately, after 10 years, the position is the same, which was in the year 2010, when the Delhi High Court directed the Delhi University to fill up these posts. When duly qualified teachers are manning these posts, after a due selection by a duly constituted selection committee, what in law can be the courts to settle the careers of these ad hoc teachers? The issue has been deliberated by the Honorable Supreme Court in many cases, and Constitution Bench of the Supreme Court, in the case of Uma Devi, far back in 2006, 5-judge bench has laid down that the governments should avoid keeping employees on ad hoc basis for long terms. The court goes on to say that the solution to the problem can be by bringing in one-time regularization scheme. As I understand, even in Delhi University, this one-time regularization scheme was brought in the year 1979-80, 87-88, and 98-99, and then again in 2003 by way of temporary ordinance, which is 13A, Ordinance 13A of the Delhi University. I think it is high time now for the authorities in the Delhi University and the Executive Council to take a positive decision, settling the careers of these 4,500 or 5,000 teachers working on ad hoc basis in Delhi University for no fault of theirs, by bringing in an ordinance regularizing the services of these ad hoc teachers working for these long many years. The recently also Supreme Court in the case of Shiv Narayan versus State of UP in 2018, speaking through my Lord Justice Arun Mishra and L.N. Rao, Justice L.N. Rao, has re-emphasized the need for the governments to give regularization to temporary employees, as the ad hocism not only affects the employee and its career and its livelihood, but also affects the work culture. The solution, therefore, according to me, will be to bring in an ordinance and regularize the services of all these ad hoc teachers who are working for long many number of years in Delhi University on ad hoc basis. This course not only has been adopted by the Delhi University itself, but has also been adopted by the Rajasthan government by absorbing thousands of teachers in 2008, and then again in 2010 by regularizing the services of 28,000 para teachers. Similar recourse has been undertaken in the West Bengal, where about 7,000 guest college teachers services were regularized in 2010. Similar situation has arisen in Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, and Haryana governments. And these governments also had undertaken these one-time regularization schemes and regularized lakhs of teachers working in those states. Most recently, the Punjab government had regularized the services of 37,000 employees by making these ad hoc employees regular. Not only this, even the Delhi government had announced regularization of almost 70,000 employees, including over 15,000 teachers working on contract basis. So in my submission, in my view and my suggestion, your movement should be for demanding the government to bring in one-time regularization scheme or ordinance and regularize the services of all these teachers. Let me look at this aspect from another angle. In our constitution, under Article 21, a right to livelihood has been recognized as a right to life. Far back by the Supreme Court in Oliga Tellis case. The position has been reiterated by the Supreme Court in Katenoff cases, where the Honorable Supreme Court has repeatedly re-emphasized that right to life includes right to livelihood. And it is the duty of the governments to provide right to livelihoods to its citizens. The situation today is that these ad hoc teachers who are working for many number of years, who are deprived of their not only the basic emoluments, but also many other benefits like maternity benefit, their promotional aspects, career enhancement prospects, etc., etc. The moment these teachers are regularized, not only their livelihood will be secured, but also I believe that a sense of certainty will come in the academic atmosphere of the Delhi University, leading to further improvement of its academic achievements and re-establishing Delhi University as the best university of India and abroad. With these words, I end by once again suggesting that the emphasis of the movement should be directed towards demanding bringing in of an ordinance to regularize all the ad hoc teachers who are working for number of years as a one-time regularization scheme, as has been done by Delhi government, Punjab government, Rajasthan government, UP government, Haryana government, and so many other governments. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We practically do not have words to explain our gratitude. You have taken time from your busy schedule, and your thoughtful and insightful and articulate presentation has given us a new way of understanding the things, and you are an authority of law and you have already helped the teaching community while appearing in defense of 500 teachers. Those appointments were under question. You successfully ensured their continuance. Now we will be in the coming times, we'll look forward to your kind help and assistance in this regard also, sir.
I'll be available. Any help which is required to the teaching community. I'm available 24/7 for your cause.
Thank you, sir. Such a busy person and a renowned lawyer of the country. Right now, then I will request to play another short
4 दिसंबर रिजॉल्व एब्जॉर्प्शन इज द ओनली सॉल्यूशन विषय पर आयोजित वेबिनार एक सार्थक पहल है और एब्जॉर्प्शन आंदोलन को एक मजबूती प्रदान करेगा। इसके लिए हम आयोजकों का तमाम एडहॉक साथियों की तरफ से हार्दिक धन्यवाद करते हैं और उम्मीद करते हैं कि यह लड़ाई मुकाम तक पहुंचे।
I request Pankaj Kumar ji. He is an extraordinary bright advocate at the Delhi High Court and Supreme Court. My interaction with him, although is very brief, but I am quite convinced he is working for a cause, that cause of regularization, absorption of teachers. He has taken up cases of different states. He has a thorough knowledge of all the existing rules and regulations, the law. Now, I will request Pankaj ji to share his views.
Thank you, Mr. Aziz, for having me today with all of you. Before starting, I would like to quote one of the observations made by Justice Ravindra Bhatt, who is now incumbent judge of Supreme Court. In one of a judgment dealing with the teachers' issue of regularization, he observed that in a completely rational society, the best of us would be teachers and the rest of us would have to settle for something else. One of the judges, Supreme Court judges, he understood the stature and the importance of a teacher in our society. He further says, it is not in everybody's ken to be a teacher. They play an extraordinary part in the lives of their pupil in shaping their thoughts and personality. Our society value teachers who are venerated to the same level of parents worthy of worship. It is a sad day for such a proud society that teachers have to reach out to court for what is justly their due. Justice was lamenting on the issues of teacher, and teachers are made to run to the court, or maybe the other word, made to do the protest for their legitimate due. Further observing in the same case, Justice Bhatt says that this court states that it is useful to recollect in the context of the present case that the security of teachers' tenure of employment and their tenure as commensurate with the role they play in society was recognized long ago and restated in the international level organization, United Nations Education, Social and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. Recommendations concerning the status of teacher 1966, over 51 years ago. The recommendations noted and outlined inter alia the following objectives: recognizing the essential role of teachers in educational advancement and the importance of their contribution to the development of man and modern society, concerned to ensure that teachers enjoy the status commensurate with this role. The recommendations substantively stated as follows: the stability of employment and security of tenure in the profession are essential in the interest of education as well as in that of teacher and should be safeguarded even when change in the organization or within a school system are made. Teachers should be adequately protected against arbitrary action affecting their professional standing or career. Highlighting the importance of the teacher, this judgment talked about the plight the ad hoc teachers, contractual teachers across the country are facing, and a suitable direction for regularization of the teachers were given in this case. I would like to say here that who is being benefited by this ad hocism in education? Kindly think of that. Undoubtedly, neither the teachers nor society. Only there are few persons who are having the arbitrary executive mind. They want to perpetuate this practice. For the same reason, you have your own UGC norms, which says that there should not be more than 10% ad hoc appointments of the sanctioned post. Kindly understand why this rule is and what is the backdrop of this rule. Backdrop of the rule emanates from certain judgments of the Supreme Court, which says that when the posts are perennial, when the posts are sanctioned, you can't have the ad hocism on those sanctioned posts. Ad hocism is essentially meant, or it was brought into the picture where the authority was not sure of the fact that how long they require your services. So ad hocism was introduced for this kind of contingency. Further, certain executive brain, they wanted to exploit the opportunity and they wanted to victimize certain person, do the arbitrary actions. They continued and perpetuated this illegality year to year, and then it went on. Very same essence is reiterated in your own UGC norms that more than 10% cannot be the ad hoc appointment. That emanates from the principle of law, which says that in the perennial post, there cannot be unlimited ad hocism. There are certain judgments of Supreme Court which say that once the post is perennial, it may be 1 year or 2 year maximum. By that time, you have to appoint on the regular basis. But what has happened that if they kept on doing it year to year and then going for 5 years, 6 years, because they can use their arbitrary power, they can terminate somebody, they can take someone who is their favorite, and this kind of exploitation, favoritism can go on unabated. This is the main motto behind ad hocism, because if the policymaker had recognized this ad hocism, then UGC rule, this very clause would not have come. So we need to understand the depth of this clause of 10%. Now, talking about the two facets, one is the plight of those who are already serving as an ad hoc professor here for years together, and the other, the practice of this ad hocism in the future. Two facets we will take separately. Now the question arises that whether there is any legal impediment in regularization of the ad hoc employees. That is the first question which I would like to address on this issue. As my senior colleague talked about the Constitution Bench judgment of Uma Devi, and he talked about the one-time measures of regularization. Taking that very part of submission further, I would say that in case of the ad hoc lecturer of the Delhi University, professor of the Delhi University, who have been appointed following a proper procedure, where there is no lack of procedural safeguard which can be said that no, the appointment procedure is arbitrary, intransparent, not fair. The Uma Devi judgment, I'll read that para also to you. Uma Devi judgment has made two things clear. Uma Devi judgment has never said that regularization cannot happen in case when your appointment is fair. Uma Devi has used certain words to manifest this kind of intention, where it says that if the initial appointment is fair, then the state is not bound by a one-time measure. The state has power to regularize the services of such employee as many times as wishes, which is happening in the case of Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh, every 3 years, the contractual employees and ad hoc employees are being regularized. So Uma Devi judgment has never bound a state to regularize the services of the employees like the present professors working in Delhi University, who have been appointed by a duly constituted committee, who have been appointed against the sanctioned post. The state has a power to regularize them at any point of time. There is no legal impediment to do that. So therefore, even in case of the ad hoc employees of Delhi University, one-time measure is not needed to be resorted on. I may read the exact para of the Uma Devi judgment. The first thing which Uma Devi judgment has clarified, what is a proper appointment in government? Kindly see that first, then I understand whether the ad hoc appointment is a proper appointment, that is a regular appointment or not. Only thing has been done is that the procedure of appointment is regular, only the post has been made ad hoc. I would read that para of Uma Devi, which has clarified that what is called the regular appointment. I am referring to the para 38 of Umadevi judgment. The appointment to any post under the state can only be made after a proper advertisement has been made, inviting application from eligible candidate and holding of selection by a body of experts or a specially constituted committee whose members are fair and impartial through a written examination or interview or some other rational criteria for judging the inter se merit of the candidate who have applied in response to advertisement made. A regular appointment to a post under the state or union cannot be made without issuing advertisement in the prescribed manner, which may in some cases include inviting application from the employment exchange. Thereby meaning that once an appointment has been done, after a thorough advertisement and the inter se merit has been judged by a duly constituted committee, means your appointment is regular. The question is that the procedurally it is a regular appointment, only the post have been advertised to be ad hoc. The distinction has to be understood. So there are two things. One is the procedurally a regular appointment, and second is the appointment which is regular qua the post. So the moment the appointment is a regular and a proper appointment procedurally, then it gets a right to ask from the court or to ask from the authority that you make the appointment declared to be regular or absorb them or make permanent. So in case of Delhi University ad hoc professor, to my so far I can recall, and as Mr. Ji said, it is an appointment where the due procedure has been followed. There is no infraction of the rule. There is no infraction of the constitution mandate of 14 and 16. And if such kind of appointment has been made, the state is not bound by one-time measure. And not even court is bound by that. I am reading further the Umadevi judgment. See, assuming that there had not been followed the reservation policy, there was no advertisement, it had been different, maybe legal appointment or regular appointment. There, in case of a regular appointment, one time measure is required, but in case of a proper appointment, one time measure is not required. I am reading from the Umadevi judgment itself. I am reading para 17 of Umadevi judgment. We have already indicated the constitutional scheme of public employment in this country, and the executive, or for that matter the court, in appropriate cases would have only the right to regularize an appointment made after following the due procedure, even though a non-fundamental element of that process or procedure has not been followed. Means court and the executive both has a power to regularize. I am rereading this para. We have already indicated the constitutional scheme of public employment in this country, and the executive, or for that matter the court, in appropriate cases would have only the right to regularize an appointment made after following the due procedure, even though a non-fundamental element of that process or procedure has not been followed. It says that, Umadevi itself says that the executive and the court both have a power. If the due procedure have been followed in the appointment, then the court and the state both have a power to regularize you. The one-time measure which comes into the para 53, which has become, they try to give this reason that this is one time only and we can do that one time. That is never meant for the kind of appointment which the ad hoc professors has. I'm coming to that one time. Para 53, what it says. One aspect needs to be clarified. There may be cases where irregular appointment, not illegal appointment, as explained in S.V. Narayappa and R.N. Najudappa and B.N. Nagarajan, referred to in para 15 above, of duly qualified person in duly sanctioned back-end post might have been made and the employees have continued to work for 10 years and more. without the intervention of orders of the court and tribunal. Kindly minded. Noted that two elements, that is duly qualified person in duly sanctioned post, two elements, but not through open competition. Two requirement met by any categories of employee, ad hoc and contractual, that is they are duly qualified and against sanctioned post, but not through open competition, and have worked for 10 years. They have been termed to be an irregular employee. And for them, this one-time measure, I am reading further, of duly qualified person in duly sanctioned vacant post might have been met, and the employees have continued to work for 10 years or more, but without the intervention of the order of the court of the tribunal. The question of regularization of the services of such employee may have to be considered on merit in the light of principles settled by this court in case above referred to, and in the light of the judgment. In that context, the Union of India, the state government and their instrumentality should take steps to regularize as a one-time measure the services of such irregularly appointed who have worked for 10 years and more in duly sanctioned post, but not under covers of the court, orders of the court or the tribunal, and should further ensure that regular requirements are undertaken to fill those vacant sanctioned posts. This para 53 says two things, that if you have worked for 10 years, not coming through the open competition, which I'll refer to another judgment, which has clarified this Uma Devi judgment, Supreme Court's another judgment, then you can be regularized as a one-time measure. What needs to be understood is that there are three kinds of appointment, even in ad hoc contractual. One is a regular appointment. Don't confuse it as a regular post. There are these two words are used vis-a-vis the procedure of appointment and the regular post. In your case, the procedure of appointment is regular, but post is not regular. It is ad hoc. Try and understand that. Now, this very judgment was further clarified that on what class of the employees this Uma Devi judgment or this irregular one-time measures apply. Supreme Court itself clarified that. I'm coming to that. This judgment, Uma Devi came in 2006, and now the Supreme Court in ML Kesri judgment clarifies that aspect and says, para 2 I am referring. The employee concerned should have worked for 10 years or more in duly sanctioned post without benefit or protection of the interim order of any court or tribunal. In other words, the state government or its instrumentality should have employed the employees and continued him in service voluntarily and continuously for more than 10 years. The appointment of such employees should not be illegal, even if irregular. Where the appointments are not made or continued against sanctioned post, or where the person appointed do not possess the prescribed minimum qualification, the appointment will be considered to be illegal. Is it clear now? If where the appointments are not made or continued against sanctioned post, and where the person appointment do not possess the prescribed minimum qualification, the appointment will be considered to be illegal. If there is no sanctioned post and there is no minimum qualification criteria fulfilled, it is illegal appointment. But where the person employed possessed the prescribed qualification and was working against sanctioned post, but had been selected without undergoing the process of open competitive selection, such appointments are considered to be irregular. Thereby, that if there is no open competitions, people at large has not been given opportunity to compete with each other, no advertisement of the post happened, and you fulfill the duly the qualification and post are sanctioned, you follow into the category of irregular appointment. For irregular appointment, there is a one-time measures provided in Uma Devi judgment, and and if any appointment can be termed to be so irregular, not having gone through the open competition in violation of Article 14 and 16, there only one-time measures can come into play, and in special circumstances the state can consider. In case of, so far my knowledge extent of the process of appointment of the ad hoc lecturer, it is in consonance of the rule, UGC guidelines, all minimum qualifications fulfilled, all eligible people have been given an opportunity to compete with. So this is an appointment which falls into the category which I have just read, that what is the proper appointment in Uma Devi judgment itself. So my legal clarity on this issue is that neither Uma Devi judgment prohibits the state to give the regularization to ad hoc assistant professors of Delhi University, nor court is bound by that. For only simple reason that the appointment process is fair. The reservation policy has been followed. There is no infraction of the rule. UGC guideline has been followed. So as per law, in my opinion, if we get a right judge, then this very aspect can be very well understood, that ad hocism where the posts are sanctioned. UGC norm says that 10%. You cannot have, see, there can be twofold legal action. I can talk about only legal action. Other actions you can take. One, while pressing for the regularization of these incumbents who have been appointed on a fair process, there could be one direction for stopping the future malice by the executive or DU executives, that this very ad hocism should not perpetuate. We can have a prayer based on the UGC rule itself, that in future appointment the ad hocism should not exceed more than 10%. Why I am saying so? That you see, legally, or there could not be any justification of saying that we want ad hocism in education. There cannot be a justification. There can be only one leg of arguments by the DU, by the state, that no, we are empowered to do that. Can a civilized society give this kind of arguments in the court, that we want to have the ad hocism perpetuating year to year in the education department? Can a civilized and a rational man can say to court? Now when UGC norms itself says that, and this is one of the most prestigious university of the country, UGC norm says so that, then why not to tomorrow try to have a judicial order onto that? UGC rules may not be mandatory for them to follow, but if that rules take the shape of a judicial order where it says that no, you will not exceed 10% ad hocism, then the further action can be open to go to the court. So in my opinion, I would say that there neither the state has any legal impediment to regularize the services, nor court is bound by any judgment, so far to my understanding.
We are quite thankful to Pankaj ji, who has categorically stated, after analyzing Uma Devi judgment and subsequent judgments, which says very clearly, if the post is substantive, yes, all our teachers except very few, those who are working against some vacancies, but the vacancies are so many, they can also be accommodated. All the vacancies are substantive against substantive vacancies, as has been approved by the, as has been given by the MHRD and comes to UGC, and through the UGC it has come to us as part of the, these are all post are substantive vacancies, number one. And all people, those who are teaching, I will say all means all, fulfill the UGC guide qualifications as has been prescribed in the UGC regulation from time to time. They fulfill every qualification. They're excellent teachers. Now the point is, if we will not press for their absorption, then what will happen to them? There will be, I think, you cannot explain. After studying for so many years, after teaching for so many years, what they will do, what will be their livelihood, how they will they sustain. And this is the reason why we are committed that absorption is the only solution. Either we have to build up a movement under the edge. Pankaj ji has rightly stated, the state is not, there is no negative injunction on the state not to do it. The state can do it. Neither the court can interfere into the system, because the court is also cannot interfere into the system, as I have understood the things very properly, and I have been talking to him, and that's what Rakesh Khanna ji has also very explicitly stated, that through one-time regulation this can be done. Point is, where is the will? But I am asking all of you whether we want this. We have the commitment. You have shown your commitment. Your resolve is emphatically clear throughout the struggle. You never bothered whether it is daytime or night. When it was raining also, thousands of teachers stayed in the night, whole night, including women teachers, leaving their families, leaving their children. There is no lack than dearth of resolve. But what has failed us, to some extent, is the manner in which it was sabotaged systematically. कभी नीली पर्ची आ रही है, कभी पीली पर्ची आ रही है. जनरल बॉडी का एक रेजोल्यूशन होकर के जनरल बॉडी में नहीं आया एग्जीक्यूटिव का. कई प्रकार का रेजोल्यूशन लाया गया ताकि लोगों को गुमराह किया जा सके. इनको वाइस चांसलर को बचाना था, कुछ लोगों को, और वाइस चांसलर इंटर्न सरकार को बचा रहा था, और सरकार को जो बचाने थे वो भी अपना काम कर रहे थे. लेकिन संख्या बल इतना ज्यादा है, हर कोई सोच ले कि या तो वो बाहर होंगे, 90% में कवर होंगे, या तो रुकेंगे. तय हमको बार बार नहीं करना होगा, एक बार करना होगा. और ये रिजॉल्व को अगर हम छोड़ दें तो हमारे पास और कुछ भी नहीं है. और मैं दूसरी बात बताता हूं, जो परमानेंट टीचर आज सोच रहे हैं कि वो अवैध है, उन्होंने देख लिया है कि 12 कॉलेज में जब तनख्वाह काटा गया तो क्या हो रहा है. कल सभी कॉलेजेस में तनख्वाह कटेगा. न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के तहत कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअलाइजेशन, टेन्योर पोस्ट, टर्म पोस्ट, ये सब उनका मकसद है. एंड टोटल कॉस्ट रिकवरी फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स. इसका मतलब जिनके पास पैसा होगा वो पढ़ेगा, जिनके पास पैसा नहीं होगा वो ऑनलाइन प्रोग्राम्स में जाएगा. तो टीचर्स का किसने देखा है? समाज के बारे में किसने सोचा है? दोस्तों, इस कड़ी को आगे बढ़ाते हुए मैं रेखा जी से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि सबसे पहले हम सवाल ले लेंगे, क्योंकि हो सकता है पंकज जी को जाना पड़े, और इसके बाद जो भी हमारे जो एडहॉक साथी हैं, जो बोलना चाहते हैं, जो साथी बोलना चाहते हैं, दूसरे साथी बोलना चाहते हैं, और बहुत ही मेहनत से कुछ वीडियोस बनाए गए हैं, जो यादें हमारे दिल में हैं, जो हमारा यादें हमारे जहन में हैं, जिन यादों को लेकर के हम जिंदा हैं, वो मैं नहीं चाहता हूं कि आपको दिखा करके ताजा करने के लिए, लेकिन उसमें झांकने की जरूरत है, ताकि आने वाला समय में उससे बड़ी कुर्बानी के लिए हमें तैयार रहना होगा. मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा रेखा जी से कि जो सवाल आए होंगे व्हाट्सएप से, बाकी जगह से, वो उसको सिस्टमेटाइज करके पंकज जी से बात करें, ताकि और फर्दर क्लैरिटी बनेगी बातों का.
Thank you so much, Aditya. We are extremely grateful to Shri Rakesh Saxena ji.
राकेश
And-
खन्ना जी.
I'm sorry, Rakesh Khanna ji and Mr. Pankaj Kumar ji for their very clear and lucid description of the problem that the youngsters and all of us are facing. कुछ सवाल हमारे पास और हाँ मैं before I put forward these questions, I must say thank you so much, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, because there are a lot of things which I have also personally learned from you today, which were absolutely almost like a maze and a gray area for me. कुछ सवाल जो हैं जो लीगल इम्प्लीकेशन से कंसर्न थे, जो बहुत लोगों का एक ये मन में फियर साइकोसिस था, इसकी लीगल इम्प्लीकेशंस, क्योंकि कुछ लॉन्ग सर्विस होगी, जॉब में डिफरेंस इन ईयर्स होंगे, तो क्या इस रेगुलराइजेशन स्कीम में उसके ऊपर कुछ असर पड़ेगा? तो इफ यू कुड थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन इट, वील बी वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू यू.
अगर आप if you talk about the state, as I said, that there is no legal impediment and the state can take into its policy that the newly appointed person, and they have a ground of taking them in because there is no debilitation in their qualification, their merit, and no difficulty in the procedure adopted. Because if the state makes a policy of regularization absorption and it goes to the court, assume it that it goes to the court, then this simple thing which will be argued by anybody who is trying to defend that policy would be the one simple thing: whether the state has a power to regularize its employee, whom it deems fit to regularize, and who have been appointed fairly after a due process. Answer to this question is yes, because as a state has a power to appoint somebody regularly, so the state has the same power to regularize the services of those persons who have been appointed fairly. The only legal problem comes, एक backdrop थोड़ा समझिए, what was happening before Uma Devi judgment, इससे आपको clarity आए. जी, Uma Devi judgment came into 2006, 17/4/2000, sorry, 6 month June months का 2006 का judgment, ठीक. Before Uma Devi judgment, what used to happen, that state or the court used to pass an order of regularization saying that कि अच्छा जी इनको 5 साल हो गए, इनको 6 साल हो गए, इनको 8 साल हो गए, इनको रेगुलराइज कर दो. उन ऑर्डरों में प्रॉब्लम क्या होती थी कि उन ऑर्डरों में कभी ये डिस्कस नहीं किया जाता था कि इनकी जो अपॉइंटमेंट है ये क्वालिफिकेशन पूरा करते भी हैं या नहीं, इनकी जो अपॉइंटमेंट हुई थी उसमें एडवर्टीजमेंट हुआ था या नहीं. अगर एडवर्टीजमेंट नहीं हुआ था इसका मतलब ये एक बैकडोर एंट्री है. तो 2006 में उमा देवी जजमेंट ने कहा कि नहीं, आप वो अपॉइंटमेंट जो कि एक बैकडोर एंट्री है उनको रेगुलराइज नहीं कर सकते, और चूंकि जो लोग 10 साल से ज्यादा काम कर चुके हैं, 2 बैकडोर एंट्री ही है. बिना एडवर्टीजमेंट के आए लोगों को आप एक तरह से बैकडोर एंट्री कह सकते हो, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली कह सकते हो, बिकॉज जब आपने लोगों को बताया ही नहीं तो 2 आपके कैंडिडेट आए, 2 को रख लिया आपने. तो कोर्ट ने कहा, ये सिंप्लिसिटर ये कहा कि रेगुलराइजेशन उन लोगों का नहीं हो सकता जो लोग बिना एडवर्टीजमेंट के, बिना कंपटीशन के आए हैं. इन पे एक प्रोविजन लगा दिया और एक एक्सेप्शन, एक छोटा सा जगह छोड़ा कि चलो 10 साल जो लोग ऑलरेडी रह चुके हैं इस प्रोसेस से, इसमें स्टेट की भी गलती है, उनकी भी थोड़ी गलती है, तो उन्हें एक तरह से आई एम गिविंग देम क्लेमेंसी, कि क्लेमेंसी दे दिया कि 10 साल वालों को एक बार माफ कर दो, आगे से ऐसे लोग रेगुलराइज नहीं होंगे. अब आइए बैकड्रॉप में, सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने स्टेट की पावर, जो कि आर्टिकल 309 के अंदर आता है, स्टेट की पावर को उमा देवी जजमेंट में कहीं नहीं छुआ कि स्टेट का जो पावर 309 में रेगुलराइजेशन की जो पावर है उस पे कोई भी प्रोहिबिशन या रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं लगाया. 1 टाइम, 2 टाइम, 3 टाइम, 50 टाइम, एनी टाइम यू वांट टू डू, बिकॉज कोर्ट में कभी भी स्टेट की पावर वहां पे नहीं. सिंपल ये चीज देखी जाती है कि ये जो लोग रेगुलराइज हो रहे हैं ये फेयर एंट्री है या अनफेयर एंट्री. तो मैं आपको ये कहूंगा कि अगर आप हिमाचल प्रदेश की बात करें, हिमाचल प्रदेश एवरी 3 इयर्स रेगुलराइजेशन पॉलिसी आती है और वो पॉलिसी बहुत अच्छी तरह से पास हो जाती है, बिकॉज उस पॉलिसी में वो सिंपल सा एक फॉर्मूला रखते हैं कि दोज हु हैव बीन अपॉइंटेड थ्रू अ ओपन कंपटीशन दे शैल बी रेगुलराइज्ड आफ्टर कंप्लीशन ऑफ 3 ईयर सर्विसेज. अब आइए हरियाणा की बात, जिसको मैं डिफेंड कर रहा हूं सुप्रीम कोर्ट में. हरियाणा में क्या गलती हुई, वहां पे ITI किए हुए जो टेक्नीशियंस पोस्ट होते हैं, उस पोस्ट की रेगुलराइजेशन पॉलिसी आई. उस उस पॉलिसी में वहां हरियाणा में 2011 में पहले पॉलिसी आ गई थी, वन टाइम वाली। 2016 में वो लोग पॉलिसी लाए, और लाने के बाद उन्होंने ये क्लाउज मेंशन नहीं किया कि हम उन लोगों को रेगुलेशन दे रहे हैं जिनका फेयर अपॉइंटमेंट हुआ है। अब सिर्फ इस वजह से वो पॉलिसी चैलेंज के अंदर चली गई। तो स्टेट हैज कंप्लीट पावर टू रेगुलराइज द सर्विसेज, एंड देयर जो 10 इयर्स का जो बात है, जो आप मिसलीड होते होंगे उमा देवी पढ़ के, तो जो 10 इयर्स 53 को दोबारा पढ़िएगा, वो जो 10 इयर्स की बात है वो उन लोगों के लिए है जो ड्यूली क्वालिफाइड हैं एंड सैंक्शन पोस्ट पे काम कर रहे हैं, बट विदाउट एडवर्टीजमेंट है। उन लोगों को 10 इयर्स पूरा करना था 2006 में, एंड देन उसकी रेगुलाइजेशन होनी थी। लेकिन जिन लोगों की अपॉइंटमेंट आफ्टर कंपटीशन हुई है, तो 2006 से लेके आज तक हिमाचल प्रदेश गवर्नमेंट एवरी 3 इयर्स रेगुलाइज कर रही है, कभी भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उसको बार नहीं किया। तो इसमें जब आप इस तरह की रेगुलाइजेशन करते हैं, उसमें ईयर्स काउंट नहीं करता। इट इज अ स्वीट विश ऑफ द स्टेट।
Okay, thank you so much. I think it has become really very, very clear in terms of the length of service, which was a major problem that people were facing.
I'll give you one judgment. There is a judgment of Sachin Ambada, division bench judgment. There, the teachers from 3 years onward, they all have been regularized on the same basis. And principally, I tell you that there is no legal bar on regularizing the services of even somebody who has worked 1 year. The rationale behind that is, since he is a deserving candidate and he has already rendered his qualification fit to be appointed, why can't he be regularized? Rationally.
I will request Himanshu to speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our respected आदित्य सर, रेखा मैम, राजेश झा सर, पवन कुमार सर जो आज के मेन स्पीकर हैं हमारे, और मेरे पंकज कुमार सर जो हमारे आज के मेन स्पीकर हैं, जो हमें इस मुद्दे पे लीगली कैसे ये करेक्ट डिमांड है उसके बारे में हमें इनलाइट करेंगे। ये जो मूवमेंट है हमने 2016 से स्टार्ट किया, वो जब थर्ड अमेंडमेंट आया था यूजीसी का, जिसमें सारे एडहॉक बाहर कर दिए गए थे, और उसके साथ ये 4 दिसंबर के हाइट पे पहुंचा। लेकिन 4 दिसंबर की रात को जो शक्तियां थी, विरोधाभासी शक्तियां थी, जिन्होंने इसको कमजोर करने की कोशिश की, लगातार वो करती रही, और ये कोरोना की वजह से इसे वापस लेना पड़ा। नहीं तो आज या तो हम इसके रिजल्ट की तरफ एक और कदम आगे बढ़ गए होते, या हो सकता था कि हमें रिजल्ट मिल भी गया होता। लेकिन हमारे आपस की जो डिफरेंसेस हैं वो हमें शुरू से ही झेलना पड़ा है। जब हमने स्टार्ट किया तो बातें ये होती थी कि लॉन्ग सर्विंग एडहॉक के बारे में तो हम बात कर सकते हैं, लेकिन शॉर्ट सर्विंग के बारे में बात करेंगे तो लोग हम पे हंसा करेंगे। तो 2016 से आज हम बात करें तो वो जो लॉन्ग, जिसकी शॉर्ट सर्विंग जिस एडहॉक की वो बात करते थे, वो भी अब लॉन्ग सर्विंग में हो गया है। और जो अब जब हम एब्जॉर्प्शन की बात करेंगे तो हर कॉलेज के स्टाफ रूम में इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे आप ये बातें कर सुनते हुए मिल जाएगा कोई ना कोई कि एब्जॉर्प्शन पॉसिबल नहीं है, होगा तो अपॉइंटमेंट के थ्रू ही होगा, नहीं तो एब्जॉर्प्शन तो हो ही नहीं सकता। पंकज सर हैं हमारे साथ, वो हमें बताएंगे कि कैसे ये लीगली टेनेबल है और कैसे हो सकता है। केवल और केवल मंशा की बात है, जो कि मंशा हमें डूटा के लेवल पे भी और भी जो हमारे ईसी कैंडिडेट्स हैं या एसी कैंडिडेट्स हैं उनके लेवल पे भी दिखाई नहीं देता। वो जब पब्लिक मीटिंग्स होते हैं तो वहां पे तो कह देते हैं कि एब्जॉर्प्शन होना चाहिए, लीगली टेनेबल है, ये इनका राइट है, इन्होंने इतने लंबे समय तक काम किया, इन बहुत पेन में है, इनके लिए हमें काम करना चाहिए। लेकिन करने की बारी आती है तो वो कोई और बात करते हैं और एब्जॉर्प्शन की बात नहीं होती। ये एडहॉक साथी भी इस बात को बहुत भली भांति समझते हैं, लेकिन वो डरते भी हैं। डरने की जरूरत नहीं है। अगर आपको कोई नौकरी दे नहीं सकता तो वो हटा भी नहीं सकता। ये मूवमेंट का ही एक तरीके से आप कह सकते हो कि स्ट्रेंथ है, आपके स्ट्रेंथ और आपके मूवमेंट का ही स्ट्रेंथ है, जिसकी वजह से आज किसी कॉलेज से एक एडहॉक को भी निकालने में वहां का टीआईसी या प्रिंसिपल या अदर टीचर्स कई बार सोचते हैं, या फिर एडहॉक को डिस्प्लेस एडहॉक के थ्रू नहीं किया जा सकता, नहीं करने की सोचता है। लेकिन अगर 2016 के पहले आप देखोगे कि तो कई एडहॉक को एडहॉक के थ्रू रिप्लेस कर दिया जाता था और उसके बारे में कोई बात भी नहीं करता था। लेकिन आज की डेट में इतनी स्ट्रेंथ तो हम में आई है कि कम से कम हमें डिस्प्लेस एडहॉक की पोजीशन पे नहीं किया जाता।
हाँ जी,
लेकिन
हमें देख लिया,
हमें
देख लिया।
अपनी
Okay,
मजबूती
thank you.
को और यूनिटी के साथ आगे बढ़ाना है। ये कोरोना की वजह से हम अपने घरों में कन्फाइंड हैं, लेकिन समय जल्दी ही बदलेगा और हमें अपनी लड़ाई दोबारा से लड़नी पड़ेगी। जो अपॉइंटमेंट की बात कर रहे हैं वो अपॉइंटमेंट का प्रोसेस कभी ना स्टार्ट कर पाएंगे ना खत्म कर पाएंगे। ये अपॉइंटमेंट का प्रोसेस केवल और केवल गवर्नमेंट को ये बताने के लिए यूनिवर्सिटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन किया करती है कि हम तो प्रोसेस को स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, हम ये प्रोसेस बहुत जल्दी कंप्लीट करेंगे। एक्चुअली मंशा उनकी कभी है ही नहीं कि एडहॉक परमानेंट हो जाए, क्योंकि एडहॉक के परमानेंट होने में उनका कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है। वो एडहॉक जब तक एडहॉक है तभी तक उनके आगे पीछे घूमता है, उनकी बात सुनता है, उनका काम करता है। तो ये जो मानसिकता गुलाम रखने की है, इस मानसिकता को तोड़ने की जरूरत है। साथियों, मैं ये 100% श्योर हूं कि अगर अपॉइंटमेंट प्रोसेस शुरू हुआ तो 90% से ज्यादा एडहॉक जो ऑलरेडी काम कर रहे हैं वो बाहर जाएंगे और दूसरे नए चेहरे अपॉइंटमेंट प्रोसेस के थ्रू आएंगे और आप और हम तो कहाँ होंगे कुछ पता ही नहीं चलेगा। तो हमें हमेशा डूटा पे दबाव बना के रखना है। और जो आज जो ये प्रमोशन की प्रक्रिया इतनी स्मूथली चल रही है, उसमें भी श्रेय ये 4 दिसंबर का मोमेंट ही है, जिसकी वजह से ये प्रमोशन का भी मुद्दा रिजॉल्व हो पाया है। अब ये प्रमोशन का मुद्दा तो रिजॉल्व हो गया, लेकिन एब्जॉर्प्शन की बात की नहीं गई। अगर गवर्नमेंट से यूनिवर्सिटी एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन पे उतना ही दबाव, उसी शिद्दत के साथ ये दबाव बनाया गया रहता है कि एब्जॉर्प्शन भी मुद्दा है और इसे भी आपको रिजॉल्व करना है, तो ये हो गया होता। इसी मीटिंग बुलाई गई होती इस मुद्दे पे, लेकिन वो नहीं बुलाई गई। अब कौन लोग नहीं करना चाहते ये सबको क्लियर होना चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर आपके दिमाग में भ्रम है एब्जॉर्प्शन को लेके, तो आपका ये भ्रम आपके रिटायरमेंट तक बना रहेगा और आपका परमानेंट अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं हो सकता। तो मेरा तो यही मानना है कि जब तक हम हिम्मत से एकजुट होकर लड़ेंगे नहीं, ये हम लड़ाई जीत नहीं पाएंगे।
धन्यवाद।
इसी के साथ मैं अपने शब्दों को विराम देना चाहता हूँ। धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू हिमांशु फॉर योर कैंडिड स्पीच। रितु सिंह।
हाँ जी, पहले तो बहुत शुक्रिया सबका, एंड सर आपका स्पेशली। थ्रू थिक एंड थिन यू हैव ऑलवेज बीन देयर फॉर एवरी एडहॉक टीचर, एंड मुझे लगता है कि मैं सबसे सबके सामने एक एग्जाम्पल भी हूँ जो दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय में मेरे साथ हुआ। एंड अगर 4 दिसंबर की मूवमेंट की बात करें, दैट मूवमेंट वाज कंप्लीटली हिस्टोरिक एंड सॉर्ट ऑफ आई वुड से लेजेंडरी मूवमेंट था, कि वो अपने आप में इतना बड़ा ऐतिहासिक था कि जिसके तुरंत अगले दिन ही हमें 5 दिसंबर का चिट्ठी मिला। बट व्हाट अबाउट, ठीक है चिट्ठी मिली, सारी चीजें मिली, आई अंडरस्टैंड कि बहुतों को ये भी लगा कि वो मूवमेंट जितना सक्सेसफुल था उतना फेलियर भी था, बट आई डोंट थिंक सो, क्योंकि उस मूवमेंट ने एटलीस्ट हम सबको बहुत अवेयर किया। हम सब बहुत ज्यादा उस मूवमेंट से अवेयर हुए। बट आई पर्सनली बिलीव दैट व्हाट वाज लैकिंग आफ्टर 5th December letter, after 5th December and otherwise also, was the demobilization of the whole process. वो एक ऐसी चीज थी कि जब डिमोबिलाइजेशन, जब आपके अपने ही यू नो द फोर्सेस, आप जानते हैं सब ऐसी चीजों को, लेकिन जब इस तरह की चीजें आप ही के साथ होती हैं, दैट डर्टी पॉलिटिक्स, इट रियली हर्ट्स। एंड स्पेशली इफ आई सी माय केस, who knows this better than me. And sir, you are here also, and other ad hoc teachers and maybe permanent teachers are also here. I just wanted to ask one thing. I'm PhD from Delhi University, Masters with First Division. Is it my fault that I come from a Dalit community, or above all, I would say that I have a voice, I have a strong opinion? Is it my fault that today, whatever the things has happened with me in the past, recent past, after 10th August 2020, and I am experiencing all these, wrong with me? I just want to ask where my fault is. It's just that I have a voice, strong opinion, and I'm sure the flame that was burning inside me that point in time is still burning within me, and it must be burning within all of you. And I'm very, very hurt. I don't want to cry on these petty things, but whatever has happened with us, if we are not united, I personally believe, if we'll not realize that what has happened with us, if promotion is there and if pension thing is there, everything is going, सब दिख रहा है कि सब चीजें हो रही हैं, but what about the absorption? Who is going to take the responsibility? तो मुझे ऐसा पर्सनली लगता है कि हम ही में से सबको जागरूक होना पड़ेगा और इस चीज के लिए लड़ना पड़ेगा. आई एम फाइटिंग फॉर माई सेल्फ एंड आई एम सो ग्लैड एंड हम्बल एट द सेम टाइम दैट आई हैव अ फुल सपोर्ट ऑफ ऑल ऑफ यू. but at this, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you are.
audible. Yes,
You are
audible.
audible.
Ritu,
Yeah, but at this, yeah,
continue.
I'll just keep it very short, sir. I
Mhm.
just want to say that if all this can happen with me today, tomorrow you cannot defend yourself. You cannot be spared. If you think that you can, you are wrong, my dear. You cannot. And this is not my plight. If I am, fighting today for this, fighting for my dignity, I am fighting for all ad hoc teachers, because ad hoc in itself is the most vulnerable position, to the best of my understanding, sir. And I'm sure, and I can say it with full confidence, if we come together, nothing is impossible for us. And this absorption thing is very small. And very rightly, before me, speaker said कि इंटरव्यूज करवाएंगे तो बहुत लंबा प्रोसेस जाएगा, और कौन 7-8 साल इंतजार करेगा. वी डोंट वांट कि हम एक एडहॉक की तरह पैदा हों और एक एडहॉक की तरह ही मर जाएं. वी वांट आवर डिग्निटी टू बी रिस्टोर्ड, टू बी सेव एंड टू बी प्रोटेक्टेड. वी आर वेल क्वालिफाइड. We have devoted enough number of time to our teaching. Oh, what we have done wrong? I don't think so. We have done anything wrong. It's just that we have seen, sir. You have also seen me, that we have stayed true to the movement. We have given full, our full strength physically. Women's were there day in and out. Everybody was there in that movement, and it was very easy to give us justice. But I don't know. Everyone knows that there are few forces who are working, but I think that 4,000 people, if we come together, बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चीजें हम लोग कर सकते हैं. If I talk about only about women, अगर हम सब साथ आ जाए तो nothing is, क्योंकि मैं एक एक्टिविस्ट होने के नाते, एक टीचर, एक स्कॉलर होने के नाते ये कह रही हूँ कि ये अगर जो मेरे साथ हो रहा है, जो मैं देख रही हूँ, मैं तो फाइट कर रही हूँ. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि मेरे अंदर बहुत ज्यादा ताकत है, मैं लड़ लेती हूँ. लेकिन अगर आप लोग भी सारे साथ आ जाएंगे तो हम ये जो एब्जॉर्प्शन है, मतलब इट्स नथिंग इन फ्रंट ऑफ अस. हमारी पावर के आगे कुछ भी नहीं है. एंड दैट्स इट, सर. मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि बस जो मैंने बोलना था वो मैंने बोल दिया है, और हम सबको साथ आना चाहिए और अपनी पावर को रियलाइज करना चाहिए और एक दूसरे के लिए लड़ना चाहिए और इस मूवमेंट को सक्सेसफुल करना चाहिए. एंड थैंक यू सो मच, सर, फॉर एवरीथिंग.
वेरी रितु, तुम्हारे लिए मैं 2 लाइनें कहना चाहूंगी. सफर में मुश्किलें आए तो हिम्मत और बढ़ती है, जब कोई रास्ता रोके तो हिम्मत और बढ़ती है. सल्यूट टू यू, यंग लेडी.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm humbled, really
Ritu,
honored and touched.
God bless you and your courage.
Thank you so
We are
much.
all with you, Ritu.
Thank you
If
so
any
much.
teacher feels today that they will be safe when Ritu is out of their college, then tomorrow the axe will be fall on them.
Of
They will be
course,
the next victims. They should realize this fact. Either all of us should collectively exist or none. You are not alone. I never think that way. Anything that is done to any teacher, I go there and stand with him or her with all my strength. All my friends are doing that. You have seen, and you will be keeping doing that, and we will ensure that justice is done to you.
नमस्कार, मैं सुनैना शर्मा एक एडवोक हूँ और इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ाती हूँ, और पिछले 8 साल से जो मैं महसूस करती हूँ वो मैं आप सबके साथ साझा करना चाहती हूँ. मुझे लगता है मेरी पहचान एक असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर होने से ज़्यादा एक एडवोक होना है. मेरी पर्सनल लाइफ हो, प्रोफेशनल लाइफ हो या फाइनेंशियल लाइफ हो, वहाँ पर ये एडवोक शब्द ज़्यादा मायने रखता है बजाय कि असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर होने के. हम एडवोक हैं इस बात का हमें बार बार एहसास करवाया जाता है. कभी हमें मैटरनिटी लीव नहीं दी जाती, हमें मेडिकल के राइट्स नहीं हैं. अगर इस पेंडेमिक में हम बीमार हो जाते तो हम कहाँ जाते, हमारा कैसे इलाज होता है, इस चीज़ का किसी को कोई ख्याल नहीं है. हमें हाउसिंग लोन नहीं मिलते हैं. बैंक्स हमें हाउसिंग लोन देने में बहुत आनाकानी करते हैं क्योंकि हम एडवोक हैं, हमारी जॉब का सिक्योरिटी नहीं है. यानी कि ना ही तो हमें इलाज का अधिकार है, ना ही घर बनाने का अधिकार है, और अब तो हमें हमारे बच्चों के अधिकार भी इस तरह से दिए गए हैं जैसे भीख दी जा रही हो. यानी कि तीसरे नंबर पर एडवोक के बच्चे को अधिकार दिया गया है यूनिवर्सिटी में एडमिशन पाने का. इसे एक डबल स्टैंडर्ड ना कहें तो इसे आप क्या कहेंगे. एक तरफ आप कहते हैं कि नहीं एडहोक हमारे बराबर हैं और दूसरी तरफ आप हमारे बच्चों को भी अधिकार तीसरे नंबर पर दे रहे हो, यानी कि समाज में जो दबे कुचले लोग होते हैं उनकी श्रेणी में हमें रखा गया है। जहां हम हर तरफ उत्थान की बात करते हैं वहां एडहोक शब्द के नाम पर हमें दबाया जा रहा है। और मुझे लगता है कि एक एब्जॉर्प्शन ही है जो हमारे इन अधिकारों को हमें दिलाने में हमारी मदद कर सकता है, क्योंकि हमने जो मेहनत, जो डेडिकेशन अपने कॉलेजेस को, इस यूनिवर्सिटी को हमने अपना दिया है, एब्जॉर्प्शन हमारा हक बनता है और वो हक हमें मिलना ही चाहिए। नमस्कार।
Request Richa Raj.
Yes, sir. A very good evening to everyone, and I would like to begin with the vote of thanks, thanking all the everyone who participated here in this program. Thank you for your patient listening throughout the program. Also, a big thank you to our most esteemed speakers today, that is Mr. Rakesh Khanna and Mr. Pankaj Kumar, who gave us the legal aspects of how absorption can be made possible, and also what is the legitimizing principle behind our demand for absorption. And I would also like to thank Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra. Of course, he is, it was his, he has been the guiding light behind this entire webinar, the entire program. But as a teacher of Delhi University, would like to thank Professor Aditya Narayan Mishra for guiding us and telling us how to stand up for our rights, and also the entire team of teacher activists who came together to make this program a huge success. I also want to thank Dr. Rekha Dayal for being there throughout the program, steering it in a particular way, in a particular path. So thank you all of you. I would also मैं ये भी एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगी कि कुछ सालों पहले जब ये एडॉक टीचर्स के अब्जॉर्प्शन का जब मुद्दा शुरू हुआ था, तो उस समय इसको कोई भी सीरियसली नहीं ले रहा था। मुझे बहुत अच्छी तरीके जब हम लोग जाते थे टीचर्स से बात करने के लिए, तो इसके ऊपर या तो कई लोग, कई दल के लोग या तो इसकी खिल्ली उड़ा देते थे या कहते थे इट्स जस्ट नॉट पॉसिबल, इट्स एब्सोल्युटली नॉट पॉसिबल। और मैंने अपनी आंखों के सामने देखा कि एकेडमिक काउंसिल मीटिंग में, जब मेरी पहली एकेडमिक काउंसिल मीटिंग थी 2017 में, तो उस समय जब हम लोग सबसे पहले, मैं और मेरे साथ के और भी लोग साथी जैसे नचिकेता सर और साथ ही साथ समरेंद्र सर और इम्तियाज सर, जब हम लोग अब्जॉर्प्शन के मुद्दे पे उठे अपनी सीट से और जाके वेल में बैठे, और उसके बाद जो वहां पे हंगामा स्टार्ट हुआ, क्योंकि किसी को भी ये उम्मीद नहीं थी कि हम लोग ऐसे करेंगे, अब्जॉर्प्शन के मुद्दे पे आगे जाके वेल पे बैठ जाएंगे और एक डिस्ट्रप्शन पैदा करेंगे। और उसके बाद उस समय ऐसे कई लोग थे जो अभी टीचर एक्टिविस्ट होके हमारे ऊपर हमें ये बोलते हैं कि हम पॉलिटिक्स कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उस समय कई ऐसे लोग थे जो बोल रहे थे कि इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल, कम बैक एंड सिट ऑन योर सीट्स, हाउ कैन यू मेक अ डिमांड लाइक दिस व्हिच इज एब्सोल्युटली नॉट पॉसिबल। और वो ही लोग, and I've seen it in front of my own eyes, the very next day it was the same leader, so-called leaders of certain groups who were passing resolutions asking for permanent absorption because we had changed the language of the debate, right? That overnight, by sitting in the well at that time, we had changed the language of the teachers, ad hoc teachers asking for the demand. And it is not that we were doing it. This entire ये जो पूरा डिमांड है, ये ad hoc teachers के बीच में से उठ के आया है। ये उनका डिमांड है। उन्होंने अपने अंदर वो ताकत महसूस करी कि वो उस ताकत के साथ उठ के बोल सके कि हमें परमानेंट अब्जॉर्प्शन चाहिए। और हमने सिर्फ एक उनकी आवाज को वहां पे एकेडमिक काउंसिल में रखा। हमने सिर्फ इतना किया, उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं किया। लेकिन उसके बाद से जो पब्लिक डोमेन में जो डिस्कोर्स था परमानेंट अब्जॉर्प्शन का, वो पूरी तरीके से फैल गया। हमने देखा कई ऐसे लोग जो उस समय अपोज कर रहे थे, वो उसको कैसे सामने रख रहे, चाहे वो डूटा के लेवल पे हो या एकेडमिक काउंसिल के लेवल पे हो, वो उसी डिमांड को सामने रख के उसको सपोर्ट कर रहे थे, राइट। तो इसीलिए इसका जिम्मेदार कौन है साथियों? इसका जिम्मेदार ना हम है, ना आदित्य सर है, ना एडी सिर्फ है या एडी के टीचर एक्टिविस्ट है, बट इसके जिम्मेदार आप सब लोग हैं। आप लोगों ने जैसे हिम्मत दिखाई पिछले साल के जो 5 दिसंबर उसके बाद जो कड़ाके की ठंड में आप लोग वहां पे बैठे रहे, वो हिम्मत आप लोगों ने दिखाई है। तो साथियों, मैं सिर्फ ये कह के यहाँ पे प्रोग्राम का कंक्लूजन करना चाहूंगी कि इस स्ट्रगल को हमें आगे बढ़ाते रहना चाहिए, इसको बंद नहीं होने देना चाहिए। जब तक कि हमें अपने परमानेंट अब्जॉर्प्शन की डिमांड हमारी पूरी नहीं हो जाती, तब तक हमें इसको साथ इसी डिमांड को लेके एक ही आवाज में हर कदम पे, हर प्लेटफॉर्म पे इस बात को सामने हमें रखना पड़ेगा। और साथ ही साथ बस एक छोटी सी बात मैं ये भी कहना चाहूंगी कि कई लोग ऐसे भी बोल रहे हैं, दोबारा से बोल रहे हैं कि जो लोग अब्जॉर्प्शन की मांग कर रहे हैं वो पॉलिटिक्स कर रहे हैं। तो साथियों, मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि पॉलिटिक्स का मतलब क्या है? Politics comes from the Greek word politica, right? And it means a demand that is collectively put forward by a larger group of people, justifying it, legitimizing it by through various methods, right? And asking for an equal redistribution of resources as well as status, right? And therefore, colleagues, if we are putting this forward, our demand in a non-violent way, it is a completely justified demand, right? So इसी जज्बे के साथ इस प्रोग्राम का कंक्लूजन करना चाहूंगी, और साथ ही साथ एक कपलेट जो मुझे हमेशा से इंस्पायर करता है, I would like to share it with you, और आप सब लोग इसको जानते भी होंगे। मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने बे मंजिल, मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया। इसी के साथ
थैंक यू।
बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत अच्छा।
एक मैं लास्ट में कंक्लूडिंग एक लाइन बोलूंगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच रिचा, यू हैव बीन कंसिस्टेंटली टेकिंग अप द इश्यू, वेदर इट इज एकेडमिक काउंसिल और इन जो कड़के का ठंड में, यू वर आल्सो स्टेइंग देयर इन द अंडर द ओपन स्काई। आई सैल्यूट यू एंड सैल्यूट thousands of teachers who did it even when it was raining. They stayed there overnight, including women teachers.